Hi, everybody. Suzy Woo here. Nice to see you. How have you been? So, I am here to share some insights about current energies. I am nestled in the foothills of Ellicottville, New York, and mountains hold wisdom. So, what a great place to be. Um, I've got a nice big ass piece of moldavite I got from my crystal lady friend Jane. And how the heck are you doing? How are you doing? So I wanted to share some insights today. In June, 2 hours before the solstice, I had this tremendous channeling that came through. That ever since, I've been so blown open that I'm reading everything. That I'm getting people's stories when I go to a location, and everything's just showing itself to me. And it's been way, way cool. Well, in this channeling, so I was staying with these spiritual teachers, absolutely the most beautiful people you've ever met. I love them, love them, love them. And their home is built into the side of a mountain. So every night I slept there. I was there for a week. I had downloads and information. And 2 hours before the summer solstice of this year, this huge channeling came through. And what it had demonstrated or illustrated was that the dark forces that the contract was over and that the earth was being released. And the vision that I had was a bird's feet. So I only saw like the ankles and the feet of this bird, and it was black, big, with big, big talons. And it had a release and go. And then it was non-negotiable, which is super awesome. So what that means is the dark forces had to release Earth, and it's non-negotiable. Now, what happened then, is all of the inhabitants of the planet have been plugged into this yucky, like feeding tube for well over 1,000 years. And it's created, it's created so much distortion of reality and the truth. And they even showed me like a black box. And that the black box a lot of times will represent Saturn and politics and government and corruption. And the heaviness and greed and corporations and banking, blah, 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 blah. So all of that has been crumbling. It needs to, because let's face it, the kids aren't successful in today's schools because today's kids are not linear like we were. They are conceptual. So everything has to be redesigned and redone. And things like that are physical. And so it takes time. When you are not on Earth, time doesn't exist. Time is an Earth thing. Time and gravity and heaviness. Saturn is Father Time. It's Chronos. So the other signs after that, well, actually, let me be more specific. Aquarius and Pisces is not Earth at all. It's way out there. So Aquarius is extraterrestrial, outer space, and then Pisces is like a Christ consciousness. It is etheric compassion, and that's where all like miraculous healing occurs. So if I'm doing a healing with a client, I bring them to a frequency. It's like a bandwidth, and then really they heal themselves. I just bring them there. So now with the release of these talons from the planet and the feeding tube being removed, everyone is looking like for their life force. And so some people will turn to the controlling factors that have always been there. So like in the olden days, you can trust your physician, and they used to make house calls. I know the Dr. Clark, who delivered me, he used to make house calls. So things have changed like dramatically since then, and you all know that. Where am I going with that? The dark force. Okay, so people are looking for where are they going to? Where can I plug in? Because my entire life, the way that I knew it and my belief systems, my faith was yanked out from under me. That happened in 2020 with everything locking down. We all know what happened then. So it was a wonderful thing that needed to happen, similar to 9/11, which we're almost on an anniversary of. Now, why that was a good thing is because what the dark forces can't predict and what they don't know and what they can't control is the upsurge of compassion. All of the people praying and meditating and donating and helping. It actually brought the world together. So you know what's going on now is all this crazy weird stuff with these blackouts, and you definitely know that there's interface changes going on with all the banking platforms. I'm very suspicious about it, very uncomfortable with it. Don't let this stuff go unnoticed or unthought of, because there's something obviously behind it, and they're all linked together. What else? The Aquarian age. So we are at the beginning of the Aquarian age. Time is accelerating, but it's going to accelerate way more as we get to the end of the year. As we kind of slide into the end of the year, everything starts to accelerate. And you know what else is cool that's happening is time hops. Like, we're skipping timelines. We're jumping around on different timelines. So like, you put your keys here and now all of a sudden it's time to go and you look and your keys aren't there. You start tearing the house apart. They're up on that shelf. You put them there yesterday, but today they're over. So what's going on? So there's different things that are happening in our timelines. And I think it's cool. So I have Uranus in my 10th house astrologically. So I don't mind chaos. Because chaos and creation actually go hand in hand. So all of these things that are happening, and there's going to be a lot more tectonic plates shifting. So that's going to be earthquakes, but I keep on getting volcanoes. So I think that there's going to be some maybe non-predicted or maybe predicted, I don't know, some really massive volcanic activity. I definitely have seen a buried city coming to the surface. I know that there's things going on in the waters, and that the energies that have once buried will resurface. And it's not Atlantis. There is something overlapping about the essence of Lemuria. It's something a little bit deeper than that. It's a little bit deeper and over a little bit. So it's stuff that I haven't seen in any of the things that I've researched or studied with, but it's definitely they're saying it's a fallen city that is submerged. So it's going to surface. Now, the only way that something like that can happen are by shifts, such as earthquakes, tsunamis, this kind of stuff. So it looks like some stuff has already started to dislodge and come up or wash up somewhere. I don't know where the somewhere is. And I'm definitely getting something about water people. So these would be like mermaid and mermen. Okay, this is related to Lemuria, my understanding right now. So there's a lot of people that when I see them as a client, I get this form that looks like a calla lily in the throat, and that I am aware that they used to emit this particular sound. I'll have to find some way to replicate what I'm hearing. Those are all one particular soul group. And so there wasn't language. It was sound without language. Language is very static. It's very locky downy. And personally, I hate labels, because when you label something or you name something, it freezes it as exactly that, which means it can't change because it's that. So from a conceptual perspective, everything is always moving. It's always in a state of motion, which is true because atoms spin. So everything is always moving because we're made of atoms, molecules, blah, blah, blah. All right. Now, what else do we have going on here? And where is it going? So I'm just going to allow whatever needs to come through to share to come through to share. So we're receiving an energetic cleansing. There is a soft, almost like a blanket of light. It's translucent, it's clear with gold dust in it, is the way that I see it. And it is there for whoever has awareness, for whoever notices. And it's because we have that same essence within us, this kind of golden glittery stuff. And so those of us that notice it, that quote unquote pick it up, or we be aware of it, it's going to bring some new levels of awareness online in us. I've definitely had a lot of blue people and the bluey silvery essences. Some of it is Pleiadian. I just had a client a little while ago who had a Pleiadian and an Arcturian. And the Arcturian represented wisdom, where the Pleiadian was very playful and keeping things like jolly in motion, like ho ho ho. I totally love the Pleiadian energy, and we're getting a lot of galactic wisdom that's coming in that we were not able to get before. And what's really exciting too is before the solstice, we couldn't get what we can get now because that death grip is gone. So now we're able to more easily connect with our own, they're saying soul power. Soul power. I was going to say higher self, but soul power. And that is our own soul's engine. And it's at this time that people are going to start to realize or recognize two things: divine purpose, soul purpose. Are they the same? Like, why did I get it two separate things? Divine purpose and soul purpose. So they're coming from two different consciousnesses. And so for those who are watching, those different terms speak to you differently. That's why I received it in two different ways of expressing it. So this is now becoming a channeled message for those who are drawn to this video. So there are things that are coming up as you start falling asleep. You've been more aware of the negative force field. And I became aware the other night of a lot of horribly vile energies that were released on our planet. And it's almost like a big old bucket being dumped out over the planet. And it was really bad, really evil. And then the next day, because I was doing some high level energy work, the next day I actually got a really bad psychic attack. The higher level that you go with this stuff, the greater your risk of attack is. It's just the way it is. It's going to get easier, is my understanding, though. I'm not going to stop my spiritual work. And this happened to be working on a child. So I'm a Leo and I'm very protective of children. So there's no way I'm not going to not do this work. Okay, now let's go back to that message for you guys. Okay, so this has to do with long, slender, brown forearms and fingers, long. And okay, this is speaking to religion. So religion is dying out. Structured religion is dying out. So there's going to be a fall, and I'm also getting the word fallacy. So now this has to do a bunch of things all Rome and Empire. Roman Empire. Wow. So it's a fall. It's almost like a rope, like a noose, but it's dissolving, it's breaking. So that tells me that those who are charged or who are feeding the energy of the Vatican, or what the Vatican is feeding, is crumbling. So I'm seeing like black cracks in the grounds. Now, I think any of you enlightened people know the Vatican is on an extremely negative portal, extremely evil. So there's going to be something that breaks that apart. It's almost like the earth has to burp. So that is also like a volcanic or an earthquake type of a feel. Um, Somebody is saying erosion. It is which is like a weathering, but it's going to be a reveal. So more and more of the 1% and shadow government is going to be revealed so that we can see it for ourselves and then make decisions. Just like what happened during 2020. Um, Everything just got blanketed out there. We're on lockdown. Don't ask me anything, or we're going to judge you and critique you and ridicule you. But now it's been 4 years later. And so we have a Saturn Jupiter square where they were together in 2020. Now it's 90 degrees later. And so now we get to this, the opening square. We get to review because we get to review what did that teach us? What did we learn? How do I feel in hindsight of 2020? And are you living in alignment? So that's where things have led. So you want to be looking at your life, looking at who you're with. Do you want to be with them? So there's so many people that have been together forever or have been in a job forever that between 2020 and now they're like, I can't do this anymore. I don't even like you anymore. I hate this job, blah, 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 blah. Where before they were just going through the motions like a zombie, just going through the motions. So everything, excuse me, was a wake-up call. And we can't keep going like that anymore. So now that that negative like feeding tube is gone, excuse me. So I understand when I go in certain places, my throat gets attacked. So I talk all day as a living. I serve clients here in my office all day. I talk all day. There's one person I did a reading on 2 different times. I was going to a particular dark place and they attacked my throat, could not continue to talk. And so it happened twice so far just during this video. So this is the way that it works. It's almost like they have a tripwire. And when you trip that wire, they're like, oh no, we're going to mess with you. But that's okay because this is the work that I do. So what else is meant to be shared at this time? Okay, count your blessings. Know that you're in a safe and sacred space. Make it be so. Declare it to be so. Honor your temple, which means your physical body, and really put clean things into it. So there's new alliances that are going to be surfacing that has to do with food and healthcare. So this is going to be literally clean eating, like clean apples, clean fruit, clean vegetables, meaning they've not been treated with cancer. So everything is not going to fall apart, but there's enough, I do know there's enough staff that is walking from the medical industry because a lot of them are my clients, and they're leaning more towards a holistic approach. So there are so many nurses that are saying they're getting instructions for the new C shot, and they're like, I can't do this. And they're walking off the job. So this happened back in 2020, but it's happening again right now because there's another one coming out. So, so what's going to happen is there's not enough medical staff, and the medical staff now, where are they going to go? They're going holistic. So where there's going to be a deficit in what we've known, which we now know is not a healthcare structure, it's an illness care structure, is now going to come back to the surface with all of these people who are trained as a nurse. But now they're in the holistic field, which means treating the whole body. And that means if I hurt my right arm and hand, that means that's because I have problems going after what I want in life. That's holistic. And then you heal the root, and then the problem goes away. So when you have an injury, that's a result. It's a result. It's something that you've been in alignment with so that it has to happen. And it's there to show you where do you need to bring yourself back into balance? Are you living in alignment with your values? So that is like my biggest soapbox, is getting people to live in alignment with your values. So my last regular job, it was at the IRS. It's not fun, not creative. It super sucked. And I hated it, but it put food on the table. So that is a root chakra imbalance. The right thing to do for yourself is you got to ramp up, right? You don't just walk off the job and have no money, but you decide what it is that brings you the most joy and the most passion. And you do it and you find a way to get paid for it. When you do what you love, the money will just fall at your feet. And that is the honest to God's truth. When you are fighting the system, when you are working on a problem, that's not a natural state. The magic is never in the thinking, it's in the allowing. So really, my mission is to get people out of their head, into their heart, and into the flow of life so that they can have wealth in all facets of their life. And I think I'm going to wrap on that note. I did do the astrology for 9/9, which is Monday. There's a lot of heat in the air. There's intensity in the air. The moon is going to be at the final degree of Scorpio. Pluto's at the last degree of Capricorn, retrograde. So that's two things at 29. Neptune is now at 28 Pisces. So all of these things that are getting ready to be discarded, disposed of, completed, excreted, are on hold. So it's like we can feel this great big motion, but not so fast. There's still some cleanup work. There's still some things you need to know so that you can have informed choices and then see how you move forward. So let me just send you some healing if you'd like it. And if you would, just bring your awareness into your chest, meaning get out of your head, and allow yourself to receive these messages into your heart, into your soul. Into your nervous system. Awesome. And take yourself a nice deep breath. Release whenever you're ready. And I will leave you with that. So I will see you when I see you. I hope that you'll subscribe. I hope you'll like it and do all that fun, happy stuff. And if you'd like to get a private session with me or a coaching session, you can visit my website at suzy-woo.com. And it's Suzy with a Y, SUZY-WOO.com. And I hope that you live a life that makes you want to say, wow! See you next time. Bye for now.